Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of Gaffing the Truth. My name is Jeff with the G, and here with my cohorts, Skabz the Clown. We're going to be talking some weird shit like we normally do. So, how's it going, Skabz?
And it's going all right. Been a fairly uneventful weekend. I laid around, did nothing most of the weekend. Did go to drag brunch on Sunday though. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, was it? Yeah, I miss me a good drag brunch, but which maybe
Yeah,
now that I'm fully vaxxed, I may start doing that in the near future ish sort of thing. Once
yeah.
I
That's one
feel,
of the
I
main
feel,
reasons we did it.
yeah. So I mean, you're supposed to still wait a few days for a gestation to kick in, so that's why I'm holding off for a little
Oh
bit
yeah,
longer.
well we did.
But
Joe's been
I look.
vaccinated for a while.
Oh, okay. Then who gives a fuck about the clown? Want to go have brunch? Got it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. My mask
I know.
on. I'm still polite and everything.
No, I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to going out and seeing people and doing stuff. I will officially, like in 2 weeks, I'll basically you're supposed to wait like 14 days, and so luckily in 14 days, got something going on. We're gonna see live people and do stuff again, so that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but uh, but yeah, I got my second dose back on Sunday. Yesterday, I was fine up until midday. Then I started feeling really like just fatigued and tired. So I slept. I woke up this morning still feeling not great. A little bit of aches and pains, but I wasn't sure if those were new aches and pains or my normal like 46-year-old like degrading body self. But I didn't want to take any chances,
Mm-hmm.
so I stayed home today.
Yeah,
And I figured this is good for me to
understandable.
do because I can sit down and it's only an hour. If I get sick, I can hold it for an hour. I haven't been pukey sick. I've just been extremely exhausted. But anyway, glad we're both fully vaccinated. So it's gonna be lots of fun. But today, everybody, we figured we could have fun. We're gonna have this. Is gonna be well, like, what we like. Sometimes we do like these weird fun episodes where we find just the weird shit, but kind of fun weird shit. And today, can't think of anything more weird than like weird science. And so specifically, weird science experiments and stuff like that, are what people have done in the past to either help promote the human race or the pointlessness of the human race, one of the two, or both. So what have you
I
got
mean,
to start us out with?
if I had the means, I would totally just do weird science experiments all the time. If money was no issue and I had all the space and stuff to do it with, yeah, I would just do all kinds of dumb ass experiments. But I've found a lot of really cool ones, some short ones, some decently lengthy ones. But I don't know. Do you want to start off with? Am I freezing up or something?
Oh no, you're fine.
Okay. Do you want to start off
So
with something like a little rough, or do you want to start off with something a little just weird?
let's go weird. Let's start weird. Let's start nice. And yeah, Hot Todd Lincoln's in the chat. Hello, Hot Todd Lincoln.
Hey, what's up, Todd? All right. So, from chickens and tobacco plants to rats, many animals had been genetically mutated to glow in the dark, but the weirdest one was the pigs. In 2006, National Taiwan University's Department of Animal Science and Technology added genetic information from jellyfish into pig embryos. The result was three pigs that glowed in the dark with a fluorescent green light. But not just their skins, the scientists said their organs glowed as well.
Well, that makes a weird sense. If only the respect that circulatory systems would travel stuff around. It makes sense in that
Yeah.
respect. But
Well, no, they put it in embryos. So they took jellyfish, they took the bioluminescence from jellyfish and put it in pig embryos. So it's the skin, it's everything.
well, that's what I mean. But like the circulatory system would have spread everything everywhere, so it doesn't surprise me that also the organs would also glow.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Was the fact is that we have this cool like system of things that push liquid around all of us to get permeating and things like that. So yeah, I get it. That's kind of weird. I don't understand the point of that, other than the fact is you want to eat bacon in the dark. I mean, some of us have been there.
I don't know. I mean, like one of the main reasons I wanted scorpions was because they glow under a black light. I'm also a product of the 90s, so.
Oh, because of the black light?
Yeah, because I just love glow in the dark shit.
That's her. That's been,
and that was Spencer's during the 90s. Just everything glowed in the dark.
That's true. And everything had weed on it. And it glowed in the dark with black light.
Mm-hmm.
That's Spencer's. Still around. At least at least up to the pandemic. I'm assuming it's still around. Post-pandemic, I wouldn't know. I haven't been to a mall in over a year. Let me ask you a question.
What's that?
What happens if you give an elephant LSD?
Sounds like a fucking party.
Oh no, this actually happened back in 1962 in Oklahoma City, because it's fucking Oklahoma.
Yeah, I've been there. It's a weird place.
So the director of the city zoo fired a cartridge syringe filled with 297 milligrams of LSD into Tusco the elephant's rump. Now there were scientists there to keep track and stuff like that. So okay, 297 milligrams. Um, that's like a lot. That's a lot of liquid LSD. Like 3,000 times the dosage of humans that humans should take.
Oh
Human
yeah.
dosage, or 200 of a trash fire could take. Uh, so, uh, so what they did is they shot this elephant, because they did it big, because the elephants are highly resistant to a lot of drugs, and because it's a fucking elephant. And so they tried to go big, because it's LSD. What the worst is going to happen is going to run around. Really, the reason why is they were studying this is they were hoping that it would trigger a thing called must, which basically must is like this weird temporary madness that sometimes happens with male elephants, where they become highly aggressive and secrete a sticky fluid from their temporal glands.
Mm.
Basically, they were trying to cause it intentionally, I guess, to study it. Probably, most likely, they were probably using it so they can study that. Not so much they
Yeah.
were trying to study them getting high, but trying to get them to study that. Well, so what they did is they shot the elephant. The elephant ran around like really big and crazy, like a bee had stung him. Like like you and I got stung by a really bad bee. We're running around going ow, 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 ow. So it's running around its pen, running around its pen, running around its pen. Drops, dead.
Oh fuck.
Um, drops down, keels over. So they go to the elephant, try to get they put the dosage of antipsychotics, stuff like that, trying to give the elephant to try to get rid of the trip, man. But no, elephant dead. And so basically they went, well, I guess elephants are really, really sensitive to LSD. But there's a coda to this story. There's still more going on. There's a denouement and whatnot. So for a long time they
Let's
were trying to
kill
figure
more
out.
elephants.
No. For a long time, they're trying to figure out whether or not it was actually the LSD that caused the death, or the antipsychotics used to help attempt to revive said elephant. Well, UCLA decided to settle this debate by giving two elephants, a similar dosage that Tesco received, and he had to sign an agreement promising to replace the animals in the event of their deaths. That basically says, if I kill them, I gotta give you more elephants. That that sounds fair. I don't know. But also, instead of injecting the elephants with LSD, you just put it in their water and have them drink the water, and drug them that way. And not only did the elephants survive this way, but they didn't really seem that upset at all. They just kind of acted sluggish and rocked back and forth and made strange vocalizations such as chirping and squeaking and all that sort of stuff. Going, man, getting that whole giggly stuff with elephants. And then after a while, they were fine. Um, Basically, what probably most likely is they said that if it had, like, for the elephant, is like they probably just the way it was injected into, because basically it was like the 297 all at once versus the other elephants, which kind of lapped it up. Basically the edibles are far better than direct injections. This is what we
Yeah.
learned, kids. Direct injection of hard drugs is bad. Eating it, far better.
Oh
The more you
my
know.
god. Oh man. Still want to party with an elephant.
No, right? What have you got?
So, to an extent, this is fairly common knowledge, but I just found this experiment. I thought it was pretty funny. Um, Researchers in Seattle ran an interesting experiment on crows. They designated a caveman mask as dangerous and a Dick Cheney mask as neutral. They wore the dangerous mask to net and capture crows and wore Cheney when they felt like acting the good guy. As it turns out, crows don't forget a face. Up to 2/3 of the birds in the area would become upset when they saw the dangerous mask and start scolding, mobbing, and dive bombing the wearer, no matter who they were. So somewhere there's a like Dick Cheney's like a crow monger now somehow, and he doesn't even know why.
That's yeah. It's like of all like, why can't it have been the other way around?
Yeah, right. Like they probably didn't want to Dick Cheney to come to town and just get mobbed by crows. It'd be like they'll know it was us.
Well, it also depends on when it was because it's kind of like when he's the vice president, so we can't do bad shit to a vice president. So, my guess, I don't know, but that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Um, so like let's talk about the fact is like imagine let's take us back to the summer of 1942. There's a professor who stood in the darkness of a cabin in upstate New York, where a row of boys were sleeping because it's a camp. And now, go with me with this. It's not that weird. He spoke
Just the way
aloud.
you said it. A row of boys were sleeping.
A row of boys were sleeping. Dun 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 dun. No. So basically, he spoke aloud and repeated a single phrase over and over. My fingernails taste terribly bitter. My fingernails taste terribly bitter. Uh, Now he wasn't crazy or anything like that, although he probably was kind of crazy. Basically, he was trying to do a thing called sleep learning. So all the boys have been diagnosed as chronic nail biters, and Lazen wanted to find out if nocturnal exposure to negative suggestion about nail biting would cure them of their bad habit. Initially, he used a phonograph to repeat the message, but after a while, they've been doing this for like weeks, like 5 weeks, and the phonograph broke. So basically, he started speaking the message aloud. Just basically, he stayed up all night and just go, your fingernails, your finger, and just kept going on and on about it. At the end of the summer, he actually examined the boys' nails and concluded that 40% of the kids had kicked the habit. Um, now, No, that's just like one of those things. Now it's disputed on whether or not how accurate truly is, because it could be, 'cause, like people can't really repeat the same success rate because other people have tried it and have gotten much smaller, like around 10 or 15%. So I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things that go, did the kids actually get 40%, or whether the fact is that half the reason why the degree is because the kids wanted to stop, so that helps a lot. I don't know, but it's like really weird. Just just imagine at night when you go to sleep, Scabs. Just imagine this voice saying, "My fingernails taste terribly bitter. My fingernails taste terribly bitter."
That's totally fine. I'm not a nail biter. So it'd be really, really weird. Maybe that would make me start chewing my nails. I'm like,
That's
bitter.
true.
Yum.
My fingernails taste like beer. My
I mean, yeah, that's
fingernails taste like beer.
I've heard of other experiments like that where you like it's subliminal messaging basically. and it repeats into your subconscious, so it's a thing. And I don't know, like they scientists don't know, like, because it used to be like, oh, it's for the weak-minded people, but even like, like scholars and people who aren't susceptible to falling for lies or anything are still susceptible to suggestion like that. That's why subliminal messaging was made illegal.
Oh, that's good. My fingernails taste terribly bitter, but my toenails taste delicious. My fingernails taste bitter. My toenails taste delicious. Hey, that might get some kids nice and limber by the end of summer. I don't know.
Just put that on a tape recorder and like hide it in like a playground or something. They'll have to listen. Speaking of listening, I'm probably going to butcher this word, but Vasanti, the Vasanti mouse was a lab mouse that was part of a study in 1997 in which the rodent had what looked like a human ear growing on its back. The ear on the mouse was actually made of a biodegradable polymer frame based on that of a 3-year-old child. Once under the skin of the mouse, cartilage was able to grow into the shape of an ear using chondrocytes, cartilage cells from a cow. It was meant as a demonstration of how to grow tissue engineered cartilage. However, it became a meme in an area before memes by circulating through chain emails and water cooler conversations with people held in disbelief. A similarly strange experiment has since been conducted in a 2013 study. I actually remember that one. They like grew an ear on a mouse, and it just became a joke. And it's like, that's a thing, guys. Like, this is pretty amazing. And they're like, the mouse can hear us now. Like, it could hear you before.
But you could have an ear. Like, see, if you have no ear, now you can have an ear. That's amazing. Or at least the semblance of the outside appendages of ears.
Now, I'm not really sure what happens to the mouse afterwards. Like, I hope it survives and you get to keep it. I mean, like your little ear mouse, but I doubt it survives.
No.
Or maybe I just want a little ear mouse as a pet.
There you go. Yeah. It for our piercer friends, that may be a good display piece.
Yeah.
Just saying, piercer friends, Captain Britt. So we know, just not that I expect them to be watching, but you gotta be watching. You know what to do.
I got a really quick one. It's really short. For 20 years, a dermatologist, Dr. Albert M. Kligman of the University of Pennsylvania, used the inmates of a Philadelphia prison as the subjects of tests on shampoo, foot powder, deodorant, and later mind-altering drugs, radioactive isotopes, and dioxin.
Of course.
Yeah, it started off really innocent and then just went to drugs and radiation.
Well, if this will work, let's do this.
It's like, all right, do you want to wear lipstick or you want to take poison? And they're like, I ain't no queer. Give me the poison.
That's probably very true. That's probably not far off.
Yeah, it doesn't say what year, but
that's probably a good 20s and 30s, like probably between the 20s and 50s is probably when that occurred.
Oh yeah, when it was still kind of legal.
Yeah. So did you know that male turkeys aren't fussy when it comes to having their way with female turkeys? I mean, you can even give them a fake female turkey, and they'll happily try to mate with it as eagerly as they do a real one. Now, let's see how far does that really go? Scientists, because I want to see how much at what point do male turkeys get into being with females? And so they involved by removing parts of the turkey model one by one until the male turkey lost interest. Tail, feet, and wings were removed, but still the male bird would come on up and bang, bang, bang. Until finally there really was just a head and a stick. And even still, the turkey was ready to go. In fact, the male turkey actually prefers the head and the stick versus the headless body. Now they figured out how minimal they can make it. They discovered that a freshly severed female head works best, but male turkeys are just as fine with a fake one made of balsa wood. Gobble gobble.
You know,
It's one of those things I found somewhere that I go, the fuck what?
I'm sure, like, if they did that to humans and, guys like just fucking something and they come in, they're like, hey, dude, this isn't even a woman. It's, a wooden sawhorse with a fleshlight in it. They pull the fake woman skin off and he's like, okay, that's cool. Y'all gonna keep watching? God, what was I gonna say? So in ducks, so about like how aggressive sexually ducks are and how terrifying that is, because
Yeah.
ducks have a corkscrew penis, or male ducks have a corkscrew penis, female ducks have a corkscrew vagina. It usually goes in the other way and has extra pockets and spikes to stop a male duck that she's not interested in from impregnating her.
Well,
so
yeah.
Yeah, so there's a reported case of homosexual necrophilia rape by a duck. There's a photo of a male duck fucking a dead male duck, and that was the first reported case of that. Just a little fun fact that I retained for no fucking reason. You know how those go.
Well, yeah, of course. That's how that goes. I mean, sometimes you feel like a duck, sometimes you don't. I don't know. It's just dumb jokes. Um, Now, speaking of, as we keep talking about these weird sexual things, so imagine that it's 1978 and you're a young man walking across the campus of Florida State University. Um, because you do. A beautiful female stranger comes up to you and says these exact words: "Because I have been noticing you around campus. I find you attractive. Would you go to bed with me tonight?" Now, it's 1978. An attractive woman comes up to you and says, "Hey, let's get it on." That's a pretty clear thing that dudes are really doing that stuff. But here's the twist: is that this is all a psychological experiment. Um, basically the idea was basically trying to help find out which gender in a real life situation would be more receptive to a sexual offer from a stranger. Uh, but unfortunately, the only way you can figure this out is you have to actually do it. And so, of course, 75% of the guys said, "Let's go." Uh, the few had said no. Typically, said, "Well, I'm sorry, I'm married, or I'm with a girlfriend, or stuff like that." But not a single woman said yes. In fact, they most 9 times out of 10 said, beat it, kid." Uh, Basically, the idea is it's really it is like this is actually one of the really first true studies as far as how men and women in social situations figure out what the differences were to do things. So, I find you incredibly attractive. Would you like to sleep with me? Dudes, damn straight. I mean, their pants are half those dudes were pants were already coming off because
Oh, for sure.
women, on the other hand, would go, "Ew, run away because
women are
cause
smarter than men.
it's true. It's true. Based on the last story I had, men will fuck a balsa wood head. There's the link of that story. It's just that males will fuck. Go. Oh,
I mean, to be fair, there are a lot of really cool toys out there for people with vaginas, like come in all different shapes and sizes and ethnicities and species and everything. And we get like a tube to put your dick in.
well, I mean, yeah. There's only so many ways. Well, I mean, if you're smart, because the erogenous stone for men is up the butt. It's going both ways.
This is true. But even though we said this about somebody probably from the 20s saying it, it's still very commented to this day. I ain't one of them queers.
Well, it's even 1970. Well, it's 1978, so sexual revolution was in full force. So don't get me wrong; it's also Florida, which is also still a wash which way that's going to go
Yeah,
too. It's a
yeah.
university, but yeah. So, but it's still
Hmm.
one of those fun little weird sort of things.
Oh, I got a weird one. This one's a little rough, but after that, I think we can deal with a rough one and then find another fun one. So, two scientists, Ernest Glenn Weaver and Charles W. Bray, conducted an experiment to turn a cat, yes, house cat, pet,
Yeah,
into a telephone in 1929. They
of
first
course.
extracted a piece of the cat's skull, then placed an electrode on the animal's hearing nerves. These electrodes were connected to an amplifier with cables 59 feet long. Thus, a sound coming to the ear of the cat would be heard in the room where the amplifier was located. The result was successful. Speech was transmitted with great fidelity, simple commands, counting, and the like were easily received. Indeed, under good conditions, the system was employed as a means of communication between operating and soundproof. They wrote. Then killed the cat and tried it again, and that's how science learned dead cats can't be telephones, but live ones can.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Wow. So it was you just got to like a cat on a cord in the other room, so you can like hear stuff from the other room, basically.
That's a little kitty crazy.
Yeah. I don't know how to feel about that. Like, imagine if that was the thing and we had to start carrying around cats everywhere to talk to our friends.
I don't know. It's but that's. I mean, that would be the weirdest thing. Like, all right, like, what if cell technology went that direction? As fact as we had cats to be our our cell phones, and so just literally getting weird. Like, basically, you buy by breed. Like, everybody's going, oh, I've got the new Russian blue. He gives me
Yeah.
5G.
You just got a stupid tabby.
You just got a stupid tabby. That Abyssinian gives me all the unlimited data. I don't know. It's just that's just
Yeah.
kind of I'm
Weird how
down.
like if science took that turn.
I know. How would texting? Oh, somebody put in the chat. Hello. Uh, how would texting work? That's a good question. I
Yeah.
mean, you get the little. Okay, don't forget they've got 20 little beans on their paws. That's what you would use to text with. Is just get them to do that. Like you always see that old school song, like old school video where you're watching the cat going like this.
Yeah. Or just
That's what you
all
have
of a
to.
sudden cats would become our our familiars, our demons, like from Golden Compass. Like we'd all just
Yeah.
have a cat that walked around with us.
Oh,
Like,
there
don't
you
touch
go.
my
Yeah.
cat.
Yeah. They're just like the longer the tail, the better the service.
Yeah, right.
So those fucking Manx
Well,
cats just are fucked. Just
yeah.
that's your bootleg. That's your
That's
bootleg
like
burner right
that's like
there.
Boost Mobile and that's Boost Mobile and Cricket.
That's your bootlegs right there.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't happen that way. Then I got a little pocket computer.
That's right. That's how they keep track of us. But now we got that
Yeah,
5G in our arms. We don't need it.
yeah,
There we go.
yeah. We're double catchable now.
There we go. We're double catchable now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk. I'm a big fan of like the weird psychology experiments. I'll be honest. I don't. I love the
We
fucking cat thing.
we
It's
kind of we
amazing.
kind of talked about that. The weird, because I went through a few and I was like, oh, we talked about that when we did human experimentation.
Well, yeah, there's some stuff like Stanford. I'm not gonna talk Stanford because we talked about Stanford already. Actually, you know what? Let's talk. Let's keep talking cats. Let me pull. I wanted to. Let me pull it up real quick because there's a really cool thing. There's like a weird fucking thing about cat. Another weird thing about cats beyond just a phone. Because it's like recent-ish. Pull it up. Everybody talk amongst yourselves. Talk to Monzo. Monzo is our mod bot on the show, on the thing. Ask him about, do an exclamation point drink, and you'll have fun with that. Where are you? There we go. All right. So in 1999, so we don't have the glorious thing from 1920s. Researchers at the UC Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley, anesthetized a cat with a bunch of drugs, so it paralyzed it and secured it tightly into a surgical frame, and then glued metal posts to the whites of its eyes, and forced it to look at a screen showing scenes of things like swaying trees and men in turtlenecks, basically going all fucking like Clockwork Orange on these cats.
I was gonna say, like, I saw that movie.
Yeah, but this wasn't about aversion therapy like Clockwork Orange is. Instead, it was an attempt to tap into another creature's brain and see directly through its eyes. Basically, they also inserted fiber electrodes into the visual processing center of the cat's brains, which then would measure the activity of brain cells and transmitted this information to a nearby computer, which then decoded said information and try to create a visual image. As the cat watched the stuff, the images came through, although kind of blurry because, I mean, cats have things like cataracts. Hey, but just technology was there in 1999. But the fact is that they could actually use the eyes as a camera, as it will, to do this sort of thing. This was done in 1999.
Wow.
But still, a very interesting thing. The fact is that we can actually process the information from the eye and then redecode it later, which, actually, in a weird sort of way, that's very helpful for humans, especially people who can't see, ways to work
Mm-hmm.
that, and then reverse engineer that the other way, so that way you can do electronic eyes to let your brain see this for all our blind friends. But cats.
I've actually seen something like that before in this documentary. They took a person's severed head and they were able to turn it into a lantern and project out of his eyes his final image. The documentary was called Wild West with Will Smith.
Wild Wild West?
Wild West. Do you remember that in the
Wild
beginning where they took the dude's severed head and they had to like make it a lantern? They had to flip it upside down because your retinas actually project everything, or your brain projects everything upside down, and then your retinas, all that's
yes,
science.
Yes, that glorious and utterly fascinating documentary of the West, of the Wild Wild West. Where the half man erected a large steam powered spider, and which is another thing that is true and happens. It's amazing.
Yeah, saw it on there. They did it in cowboy times.
Yeah.
Okay, but what they didn't do in cowboy times is hoping to further the field of organ transplants, scientists made a chimera. The goal is to grow human organs that can replace malfunctioning ones in real people. This is really useful for me because I'm starting to suspect the prize from this lottery I won isn't actually a trip to an island. But yeah, like I heard about this like a while ago. I don't remember. It doesn't say when it was, but they started growing like much like the ear. They started growing human organs in pigs. but they can't be trusted.
Well, yeah, pigs can't be trusted. That's true. I mean, in general.
Yeah. Also, a pig's orgasm lasts 30 minutes.
So does a flamingo's.
Interesting. Man.
See?
I think a flamingo having an orgasm for 30 minutes is way more terrifying than a pig having an orgasm for 30 minutes. You just like this giant pink bird, like, we're just like shivering or whatever they do. I don't know how they come.
It's kind of hot, I guess. I don't know. Maybe the pink flows out of their flip feathers. Maybe for all we know, like the flamingos are gushers. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know about birds.
Yeah. If you happen to know about flamingo sex, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, please, because obviously this is why you guys came in for this entire show, talking about weird science shit. Is learning about flamingos and their sexual habits. Uh, I know that they, according to Mark Rebele, the musician, and they like to come off your eyeball. So, but yeah, that's a fun video and music. So yes, um, so a Yale researcher, Jose Delgado, basically went to Cordova, Spain, and not so much that he went into like a bullfighting ring, and in the ring was a large, angry bull. Animal, of course, noticed him, went to charge. Delgado appeared defensive, just like in his khakis and a shirt. Nothing, no sword, no weird red cape. And then, basically, with a remote control in his hand, he sent a signal that was into the chip of the bull's brain, and the animal stopped in its tracks. It huffed and puffed and walked away as quietly as possible. So yeah, basically, it's like this was all creation of a thing called the stimoceiver, which manipulates behavior. It's a computer chip operated by the remote control unit that can be used to electronics, basically implanted in parts of the brain, and by hitting those things, hits a variety of effects, including things like involuntary movement of limbs, eliciting emotions like love is rage, or the inhibition of appetite, or doing things like stopping a bull in its tracks. Uh, and what's crazy about this is that you're thinking this, oh, this happened like last year. No, this was 1963. They did this back in 1963. It exists. It's existed since then, and like they've done things. There's been talk like they've been basing things like remote controlled animals, including rats, pigeons, sharks, remote controlled sharks
Yeah,
with
of
freaking
course. There
lasers
was
on their
also
heads.
they were trying to put do a radio controlled bees or automaton bees rather.
Yeah, that's yes, because of the working on that, and then weirdly was it like an episode of Black Mirror talked about the weird robotic bees. Uh, it's a great show, and lots of truth in that, especially fucking pigs for whatever. Uh, anyway, what else you got?
One of the public urinals installed at the what year is this? Glastonbury, the United Kingdom's largest music festival. This was in 2016. Um, one of the public urinals installed there can generate enough electricity to light the cubicle's LED tubes using a system developed by scientists at the University of West of England. So they created a urinal that when you pee in it, it can actually generate energy. So, like, if you put those in like festivals, like you could light up an entire restroom.
Now, are they trying to do like
I think you
hydro?
could probably do more than that at festivals.
Well, depending on how, I'm curious as far as the science, as far as how they're going. Are they just using based on like the like basically like you're doing like hydroelectric, where basically it's like it powers a thing that
Uh,
as water runs through it, it powers it up to go through stuff, or is it like due to the
I'm not
electrolytes for the
sure.
shitty people drinking
all,
that they can
yeah,
make it work?
all your beer piss.
It becomes like an
Um,
electromag like an electrical thing, like a weird battery sort of setup. Um, I'm curious, and I like this is like of
Okay.
all the stuff we're talking about. Like I'm like actually really curious about the science of this one
Okay.
because it's just
I looked it up. It's a P power urinal. Just the opening thing right here. P power is a prototype that uses urine as a source of power to produce electricity. The microbial fuel power has been able to generate enough power to charge a Samsung mobile phone, which enables SMS messaging, web browsing, and to make a brief phone call. It has also been able to generate sufficient levels of electricity to power an LED-based lighting system for one toilet cubicle. Plans are to develop microbial fuel cells to power indoor lighting in refugee camps and disaster areas in phase two. The purpose is that microbial fuel cells, MFC, can provide power to light a 10-mile radius or 10-meter radius. It's just M. Yeah, so meter.
meter.
Yeah, 10-meter radius around a block of 4 toilets. So it's
So
saying microbial, so I assume it is.
it's a chemical, like a chemical reaction
Yeah,
versus
chemical
just a.
reaction. Yeah,
All right,
yeah. Wow.
that's actually really interesting. I mean, like that's like legit. Of all the things we've talked about, like some of the stuff we got. All right, like
Yeah.
that's the beginning stages of like it's of
Well, I
getting
mean,
into
there's
stuff. So
that dude. He it's being more popular as now, but one guy started it like years ago, like 2012, 2013 or something. He basically hooked up he had small like 1 bedroom like house, really small, and set up an exercise bike to a generator, and all he had to do was ride it an hour a day, and he had enough power to run everything he needed for 24 hours. But also at the same time, he was living really, you know, probably no computer, no TV, just some lights and a stove or something. But still, like he was able to, run everything he needed just by riding his bike an hour a day. And they've actually
well,
talked about expanding on that, like to be able to hook this up into your house, you can run your own electricity. But also that takes away from the grid and makes a whole lot of other issues with state and local governments.
ERCOT. Hey, yeah. Um, Now, that's another weird episode of Black Mirror again. Second episode with their basically everybody's required to ride a bike, and they get little things. And I think part of the reason they're riding those bikes is to help give energy for the world, which is kind of cool in that respect. Not so cool what they had to do all that sort of stuff. Anyways, Black Mirror, Netflix, watch it. Not being paid, but hey, you can pay us. We'll talk about not Black Mirror officially. Netflix. We could use sponsors, weird sponsors. So we've kind of talked about this before, like in other shows and stuff like that. But I think we'd be remiss without talking about the weird, dark rumors from the Soviets saying they've been doing things like experiments to create stuff like I don't know, like a human ape hybrid by breeding.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah. So, like, the thing is, like, we didn't know what was going on until the fall of the Soviet Union. We didn't know what was going on for it. But Dr. Ilya Ivanov, who is a renowned expert in veterinary reproductive biology, wanted to do more in life than breed fat cows. So in 1927, he actually traveled to Africa to pursue his vision of interbreeding man and ape because why not? Um, Now, supposedly, because we're gaffing the truth here, so supposedly his efforts weren't successful. Now, part of this is because genetically speaking, it just doesn't fucking work. Uh, but also, the bigger reason is the fact is that the native staff of West Guinea, the West Guinea research facility there in Africa, where he worked, um, he had to constantly try to hide the fact that he was trying to basically get an ape and a human to fuck. Uh, because if he did, there would be unpleasant consequences that would happen. So basically, the fact is that he had to be so secretive of it. Ultimately, he couldn't do it there because they weren't giving him alone time with the female chimps. I guess I don't know. Uh, Although he did record 2 unsuccessful attempts to artificially inseminate female chimpanzees from human sperm. Whose sperm? Uh, but frustrated, he actually went back, but he found an orangutan that he named Tarzan because, of course, you do, even though orangutans have nothing to do with Africa. Um, Hoping to continue his research in a more accepting environment. Back home, he actually advertised for female volunteers to carry Tarzan's child, basically getting a human to carry an ape's baby. And he got takers. You know, nothing like trying to get out of that bread line. Uh,
Yeah, no
but
shit.
but but unfortunately, Tarzan died before it happened, and then Ivanov, because he's kind of crazy and also counter revolution. Because in 1927, so this is like the Bolsheviks and shit like that. He wasn't down with the Bolsheviks, and so he went to prison. Now, supposedly, and we have seen pictures, or supposed pictures, that his research continued, and things like the human Z exist or existed.
I was going to bring up the human Z during all
Well,
of
it
this.
times out well, so hey, it's,
No, just because you started talking about it. Yeah, dude. Like, I I learned about the human Z a long fucking time ago, and it's a fascinating story. We could probably do a good episode on the human Z.
so stay tuned for another episode of us later on, not next, but maybe we'll the human Z. I could talk. We
No,
could talk into
human Z
getting into.
coming up next. Like,
No, that's yeah. So but I figured that was a fun thing to kind of bring up. The fact is like yeah, like legit Dr. Moreau fucking shit was happening back in the
yeah,
20s. Like for legit, not just like H.G. Wells going, here's a funny thing I can write about while drugged out on opium.
yeah. Created a pigeon rat.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Have you? So you watched Tiger King, yeah?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So I don't remember if they said it in the show or if it was something related to Tiger King that I was watching. But also, you may just know this. Do you know what tiger piss smells like?
Doesn't smell good from what I understand. I
Actually,
haven't
it kind of
smelled it.
does. Tiger piss smells like buttered popcorn.
I was not aware of that. That makes
Yeah,
me
yeah,
reevaluate all the popcorn I eat at movie theaters now.
yeah. So like tiger piss smells like buttered popcorn, and they don't really know why. It just kind of does. Um, so there's another animal, the binturong, more commonly known as a bear cat. You know, for white people. You know what
Okay,
a bear cat is?
it's a bear.
Um,
It's a
so binturongs are also called bear cats, but the name is rather misleading since they are not related to bears or cats. Instead, they are related to civets and fossas, but look more like gigantic dust mops. They also happen to just smell like buttered popcorn,
okay.
and it's weird because like they're not like really aggressive. I mean, they're rodents basically, but
Yeah.
you know, like they they smell like buttered popcorn. People were like, scientists were trying to figure out like why do these bear cats smell like buttered popcorn? So they did a study and found that bear cats pee also smells like buttered popcorn, and they tend to just roll around in it after they go.
Okay.
Yeah, science finally came through for us. Thanks. I just thought that one was silly as fuck. Like,
Yeah, that's pretty silly as fuck. I got one more fun one. Where to go? Um, let's something that happened back in 2019. Based on some conversations from previous episodes from what we've done here. Uh, According to a study conducted that just so you guys are aware, the Loch Ness, they actually did an official scientific study where they basically went through and they found absolutely zero. The Loch Ness seems to be devoid of any signs of quote unquote monster DNA. They drew more than 250 water samples from the vast lake and examined the bits of DNA floating within each. Uh, they found genetic traces of more than 3,000 species living in and around Loch Ness, including fish, deer, pigs, bacteria, and humans, but no evidence of giant reptiles or aquatic dinosaurs, or
Yeah,
even
because Nessie
or
hides all that stuff so people can't find it.
or even massive sturgeons or catfish, which could be basically the things that it could be. Like, well, maybe it's, maybe it's something. But they did found uh, an abundance of eels. So it may be possible, although highly probable, that Nessie was actually just like a giant fucking eel. Just like genetic, just like there was one weird genetically big eel and just
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are a couple of stories actually about some people around Loch Ness who didn't see Nessie, like didn't see the plesiosaur. They did see a giant worm. Well, they called it a giant worm, probably because they didn't know what an eel was.
could be.
But I think we got time for one really quick one.
Yeah, let's do one quick one, then we'll do our plugs and we'll get out of here, and then we'll do other stuff.
Okay. um, in a bizarre experiment, it turns out people are more aroused when touching a robot's butt than touching other less taboo areas. It should come as no surprise that the robot sex test results will be presented in Japan. Yeah, so when people are like given the option to touch a robot, like if they like touch its arm and touch its head, it's one thing, but if they touch its butt, they go just kind of yeah. Scientists studied this.
Well, I mean, once again, back to the
Has science
turkey
gone too
experiment.
far?
No, back to the turkey experiment. Just
Yeah, I know, right? Like I said, yeah, we'll fuck anything. I've been to porn shops and people are disgusting. Hi, I'm people, but goddamn,
yeah,
like there's some weird shit out there.
that's true.
One time at Fixation, we auctioned off a dildo.
Of course you did, because
Yeah, it was a drill with a dildo on it, and it actually came from a local sex shop.
yeah, that would be the Christian Science Reading Room.
Yeah, the one downtown.
Yeah,
I got kicked out of there once.
that happens.
Yeah, simply for walking in.
Oh, that'll happen. So let's get our plugs out of the way. Do you got anything you want to plug?
Let's see, what do we got? This weekend, I don't think I have anything going on this weekend. Next Monday, probably doing a stupid live stream for stupid people. But other than that, no, the exciting stuff starts happening next week.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool. All right, cool. We'll talk about that next week. That gives us something to talk about here. Okay, for me, right after the show, we're doing a little late night fix. We're watching a really fun movie called The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price. It's a lot of fun. And tomorrow night, we've got another edition of Planet Lisdom. Planet Lisdom is a show out of Canada, in which I believe she will be talking with our good friend, Phoenix Fire. Then right after that is the Devil's Hour. With the Devil's Hour, I've got some really fun stuff for this thing. I got a really good artist from England by the name of Green Tea Pang, Danger Dave from Stolen Stitches, and
Hey,
yeah, and then the Rum Jacks, which are this really cool band out of Australia, plus other weird fun stuff I do. On Thursday of the week, we talk on the G Spot. I'll be talking with Lindsay Halpin, who is the owner and proprietor and creator of Violet Peacock, which makes hats. And you're thinking, Jeff,
nice.
why are you talking to somebody who makes hats? It's our good friend, and like she makes some amazing hats. And she's like
Mm.
outfitted like burlesquers and all this sort of stuff. So she's definitely a person great to talk about and talk with. So I'll be talking about her then afterwards, we're going to do a fun thing where I'm calling Hit Random, where I'm going to be showcasing a lot of weird short films that I've come across over my past year to showcase, and a few ones that I haven't had a chance to showcase yet due to the length because it doesn't really fit the Devil's Hour. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then that's what I'm doing this week, and somewhere I'll probably playing some video games here on the channel. And then next Tuesday, right here in Gaffing the Truth, Skabs and I we're gonna delve into some creepy pasta because we
Hell
thought
yeah.
that'd be fun. We're gonna talk about some creepy pasta because that'll be fun and weird.
Yeah. Spooky spaghetti.
Yeah,
Morbid manicotti.
there we go. Some of the weird kind of internet rumor stuff, and and just like we're gonna go with more of the weirder stuff, less of the super famous stuff because I think everybody knows about fucking Slender Man, and
Yeah.
that turned dark quick, and we're trying to have like the
But
weird
then
fun
who
stuff.
was phone?
Yeah, stuff like that. Um, so everybody be safe, be cool, be groovy, and as always, keep drinking, everybody.